The first question I have for you is, was the decision of the startup an easy one? Because most of us carry this inhibition, we all are bubbling with ideas.
See, my startup journey is a little different from how probably a few others would actually pursue that. My startup journey is basically from the fact that I personally and together with a team wanted to create an healthcare impact in this country. How we see is probably India has a very bad healthcare infrastructure, particularly at the last mile. And when you look at those stuff, you will see the challenges as a country that we face. So I saw personally that there is a healthcare challenge. And India is a country of billions. And it can be intimidating trying to fuel a huge change. What encouraged me was the fact that I'm going to solve a problem that most people are facing on a daily basis, and that is lack of satisfactory healthcare facilities. So nothing is easy, but the drive was there to actually help people, particularly in traditional medicine space, particularly in Ayurveda, and that drive was bigger than anything else.
Perfect. What actually convinced you to take the plunge, if I may ask, besides the drive, of course, be the solution provider to the healthcare problems of our country?
So this is very personal to me. And the journey actually started much earlier when I was diagnosed with hepatitis C in my early youth. Going through Western medicine treatment, I reached to a point where I was surviving on the drip. And so actually the doctor was treating me. And so basically it was not working, the medicine system. So he recommended a change course and move to Ayurveda. And it took me almost 6 months to respond to treatment and 3 years to fully cure and become healthy again. So while being bedridden and going through the treatment, it opened up about the issues the sector faces. What I realized that people trust Ayurveda, but they don't trust the doctors and the medicines. So this is one thing I realized, that probably the biggest problem facing the industry, facing this Ayurveda industry, is trust. So I thought, and I actually decided that I need to solve this problem of trust. In Ayurveda, which has survived for thousands of years, which has been helping mankind for thousands of years, and there is no reason that it should not become a mainstream treatment for everyone, not just in India, but all over the world. And that was one of the reasons, and perhaps it is the most compelling reason that I started Nirog Street.
All right. And would love to know, how has your journey been so far? What are your highs and lows that have been there? And what do you love the most about your journey and the career now?
So the most I love about what I'm doing is I'm able to impact lives. Nothing gives me a kick better than I am actually able to support someone else in living a better life. And we touch those lives through healthcare practitioners. When we see someone, so for example, what gives me a high when a doctor on our platform through peer-to-peer learning gets to know something and implements for his own patients. Because I work in a category which is very, very unorganized. And you do not have a platform with this community. So how I say for this Ayurveda is basically things are even more tricky with Ayurveda. Unlike modern healthcare system, the Ayurveda practicing community remains largely unconnected. Doctors work in silos, and there is practically no knowledge sharing platform which connects these practitioners. So actually getting those people to be able to feel like community, to be able to learn in real time, and also have access to everything that they want, this gives me the sheer happiness that we are able to contribute to something which has been a heritage of our nation.
Very inspiring, I must say, sir. All right. So There are many people working with you. What is your relationship like with your stakeholders? How do you ensure that they are also happy, you are also happy, and things go smoothly?
We never hire. We say that while you take care of Nirog Street, we take care of your health. That's all. We never say that your salary is going to be this, your salary is going to be that. They are always secondary. We always say we are going to take care of your health. So at
Mhm.
least everyone is healthy.
Health
I
is
think no
everything.
one would have anxiety and all those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. All
The
right.
first thing when someone joins, they go for a Panchkaran treatment.
Harry, that's nice.
So what
Okay.
are the other initiatives that you take on an ongoing basis for holistic health and well-being for your team?
So basically, we have, of course, depending on yoga, we have yoga sessions for people. Then we do have our internal sessions. But one thing is very important is they can actually speak to a medical practitioner any point of time, and they can go for a treatment. In fact, starting from an Abhyangam massage, or you can do a Panchkaran treatment or anything that you can go, and basically the cost is taken care of by the company. So,
So
and this is actually one of the best things that can happen because relaxation is what you need. You need relaxation of body, mind, everything that you have. So it adds. And then we, of course, we do, most of us actually work like a friend. So we are not basically, I would say, a very hierarchy-led organization. I mean, everyone works with everyone.
and it must be a young team. So we were just curious to know what is in the pecking order of the youth of today. How
Yeah.
important is health, and how enamored are they by the promise of a potential employer prioritizing their health over their financial well-being and other such aspects?
So, in fact, in fact, a 25-year-old is more concerned about their health and well-being than a 60-year-old today. So they want to stay healthy. They want to actually eat healthy. They actually know more than most of us. They're aware about their body, what their body needs. So how I see is basically young people are going to drive the change that India is seeing, particularly in healthcare. And how I see over next decade or so is most people will know more about themselves than anybody else, and they'll be able to choose what kind of healthcare or what kind of treatment they would like to take. So this is going to be a important change for how healthcare is being delivered today. So today, in fact, healthcare practitioners are at commanding position, but 10 years from now, the customer would be at the basic decision-making side, what kind of treatment, what he would be taking. And that actually gives me, this idea came from my team only.
Right. And that's in fact very encouraging from the perspective of the potential future of this country, and the health of Indians in general. One of the things you mentioned earlier about trust, I was curious to understand, what are some of the things that you've done around building trust? So is it, the Nirog Street brand and the platform that brings about this trust, or are there other things such as codifying Ayurveda practices and medicines and prescriptions, and bringing together the traditional knowledge in some sort of a packaged technology form that enables this trust? So what are some of the levers that you had to play upon to bring about this trust amongst the segments and the stakeholders?
So what we do is we work with practitioners. So we do not work directly with the consumers. Okay. Problem of India in healthcare is supply side problem, not the demand side problem. And when I talk about supply side, it's about the practitioners and the basically pharma and the products that you have. What we are doing is streamlining the supply chain of Ayurvedic services and medicine, so that our practitioners are able to deliver better healthcare to their patients. This is what we are doing. And for that, what we are doing is basically we work with doctors way and skilling. So for example, our peer-to-peer learning platform where one doctor can actually teach another. So peer-to-peer is the best way of learning, rather than just one person sharing. So they share cases, and they basically create knowledge. That knowledge actually get codified on a platform which all these practitioners can use. So for example, there is one doctor has done a particular case study Other doctors have actually, say, for example, verified that and worked on that, and they become part of the repository, which other practitioners can also use. So we work on the both sides, though we are on a supply side, but of course we are very much mindful of the knowledge side. In fact, our journey started with creating knowledge, and that too in a peer-to-peer manner for these practitioners. So they play a very important part of what we are doing.
Right. So essentially, trust by enhancing the knowledge quotient of the practitioners and ensuring that their knowledge is up to speed, and that in turn gives the consumers the confidence that the practitioners that are associated with Nirog Street are up to date and are not taking them for a ride. Would that
absolutely
be?
And we also have something called Nirog certified clinics. So while we also certify some of the clinics and doctors who are there to basically modernize practice modules that we have, so we have also developed a protocol which some of these doctors start using, and they become basically Nirog certified. So there are multiple layers of trust building mechanism that we have, but primary is that a patient has intrinsic right to get a quality prescription and quality products. If you do not have a quality product, then also your problem is not going to be solved. But at the same time, our model revolves around our practitioners, that we want our practitioners to be able to live a better life, to deliver better healthcare, and in turn, of course, we would like them to be financially independent as well.
Right. And what is the kind of scale or impact that Nirog Street has been able to create so far, and what is your vision for the coming times?
So on our platform, currently, I would say we have close to 50,000 plus practitioners already listed on the platform. And they use Nirog Street tools and services to deliver better healthcare for their patients. And on top of that, they are able to, of course, procure products and medicines for their patients. Technically, our doctors do prescription, as well as they also sell medicines, which is allowed by the law. So we are solving every single problem that they have. So we are creating an ecosystem where these doctors do not need to go anywhere else.
All right. What about the future vision? What is the scale that you would like to take Nirog Street to in order to solve the problems of the country?
So see, India has close to 2 million healthcare practitioners in traditional alternative medicine space, and they together reach out to 1 billion plus people. So our vision is simple. We started with a vision that we want to touch 1 billion lives. And with these practitioners, 2 million practitioners, we can certainly touch 1 billion lives. So this is the vision, actually touch 1 billion lives, however, not directly, but through these healthcare practitioners.
Okay, that's wonderful. And in order to reach that scale, of course, you'll need to amp up the practitioner certification program and all of that. But in terms of supply chain, do you see major challenges given the unorganized sort of marketplace that you are in as far as the supply of Ayurveda medicines are concerned?
Yeah, so this is indeed very unorganized category. And but what gives you kick is once when you are trying to organize a very, very, very unorganized category. So what we see is that, yes, we have been able to create impact while partnering with our brands, with our practitioners. And as time goes, we will see we will be a very different company next 6 months, in next 12 months, in next 18 months. And while our journey grows, we continue to impact both supply side from the quality perspective, from the kind of products that would be coming in the market. And at the same time, we would also be helping a lot more SMEs reach out to a larger universe of practitioners and become mainstream player. That we also see.
Right.
So we would like to empower a lot of smaller companies, go places, become bigger. So while we grow, we would also like our partners to grow.
Sir, you must have envisioned something about your venture, and has it exactly been like how you had envisioned, or did it match up to your expectation, or were there things that you discovered that were more easier than you had expected, or something that became more difficult than you had expected?
See, when I started, I knew what I am doing is not the lowest hanging fruit. ठीक है? और दुनिया में कुछ भी प्लान का बिल्कुल जैसा नहीं चलता है. So let us accept that. So in fact, when we started, we decided to be in Ayurveda. We were just community. When we went for the fundraise also, everyone said, no, particularly Ayurveda has no future. You should not be working on that. You should particularly focusing on, the Western medicine or do basically both. We were formed that I had a personal belief that अपना time आएगा. So, और इसकी जरूरत है. So we kept a firm plan that we want to work only on this plan. So it took us pretty longer than anyone to probably get access to capital so that we can grow faster. But I always say that we never got an Indian fund or any Indian capital to trust us. It was first capital that came to us was from a Japanese guy. So this is also, I would say, part of our journey.
Very interesting indeed, sir, and very inspiring all through. Sir, do you have any questions?
No, not right now. I do not have any questions. I never ask questions. I always answer people. To my colleagues, to my investors, everyone that I just answer. To my customers. I'm actually a customer service agent at my office.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at the top job as a customer service agent, solving everybody's problems and answering everybody's queries. Yeah. Was there any point when when the going got very rough and you felt like giving up or changing course or changing your plan or business model? And have you kind of tweaked your model around as your journey progressed from the initial days?
So, what happened that I started with the initial capital, what I had and everything. And in fact, so like everyone goes through a rough patch. And just before we were able to launch something, and I think, in fact, I reached to a point where, in fact, I had actually run out of every single money that I had. And in fact, the luck would be that I went to meet a friend, and I had to actually ask him कि मेरा metro card recharge करवा दो. I actually reached to this level. So I was almost broke. I had no money left in my pocket or anywhere else. But yes, things change. Things change for good. But it never came in my mind that I'm going to drop this idea. It was always there. Whatever it takes, I'm going to make it successful. So that was always in my mind. It never came in my mind that I'm going to drop this. Never.
So from that point where you literally had to get financial help to charge your metro card to hopefully getting funding and being able to scale up the organization, what was the turning point? Was it the one round of funding that you got, and how did that come about? So how did you get a Japanese to trust in Nirog Street?
Funding is so I always see funding as a catalyst, not as the main reason. They actually you need money to execute what you want to do. You don't need money to think what you are going to do with that money. So we already were doing something, we were working. However, the first high that I would say that when we launched the product and we got probably the first 100 customers on the platform. That was probably the biggest high for us, other than, of course, funding is very important, and they are a measure of our success as well, because without money, you will not be able to scale or grow the company as well.
Yeah. In fact, very interesting that you say that you measure success in terms of the impact that you create, or the business metrics, the traditional business metrics in terms of getting the first 100 customers, etc. But in the media, there is a trend of glorifying instances of people getting funding and celebrating that success as if it is the end rather than the means to the end. What are your thoughts on that?
There's nothing wrong with it. We should celebrate every single thing that comes our way. We should never miss a chance to celebrate.
Right. So on that celebratory note,
funding is certainly a thing of celebration. India country is getting precious foreign currency. It is adding to employment, adding to everything. So this is actually a thing for celebration.
Okay. So on that celebratory note, let's celebrate the fact that we are having this wonderful conversation, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajiv.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure having you over.